The following Dysfunctional Gaming podcast was filmed in front of a live Twitch audience.
Hey, what's happening? It's Thundercat here with my friend GM Patch Nasty. Welcome to Dysfunctional Gaming, talking D&D. How's it going?
I'm good. I've moved up from acquaintance to friend. It's like a
give me a break. You're lucky I'm your friend. Otherwise, I would have left a fucking long time ago.
I don't know. I mean, after that $10, what can $10 buy you comment on Saturday night, and I went a little crazy. Yeah, I agree. But how are you today, sir?
I'm good, thank you. Hello, Disto.
Mm-hmm.
How's it going?
Disdo. Good.
So before we get into anything relating to talking D&D, I want to give a huge shout out to Dysfunctional Dad and the Spooktoberfest committee. What an unbelievable event that happened on Sunday. All of the donations, everyone's communities who came out and helped us out, raised almost $500. Like that's incredible.
Crazy.
And I just, like, Dysfunctional Dad putting the whole thing together a year ago, didn't expect it to happen again this year, but what an amazing job putting it together and getting the people to make it go smooth. And I just wanted to give him a huge thumbs up. Great job, buddy. And
he actually got to nap this year.
Yeah, and thank you. Well, he did have a long day before, so like I think last year it was just like we all had the day off. So like last year's day, like the day before, well, except for you worked weekends, didn't you?
Yeah, I worked all day Saturday. Yeah, I remember those days. I hated those days.
But yeah, and then also to the streamers, everybody that streamed, DD streamed he got the first 2 hours. Well, Dysfunctional Gaming got the first 2 hours. Me and Disto ran around in the forest for a while.
Nice.
DD got the second slot, Disto with the third slot. Then they watched the movie and did some commentary over it. Heading into, I think, Lifted, then you.
Yep, it went Lifted, me, Throg, Snow, Tater, Blue Jane, who's a lovely person who I met that day. And then Wing closed out with us.
Yeah, so, but like
that
everyone
was a
did.
Very long day.
Yeah, great job to everybody. And I just wanted to give that shout out to all those
Thank
people.
you.
If you can check them out, go check them out. They're great people, great streamers. And their communities.
Where's the easiest way to check them out?
On Twitch.
Or go to our Twitter, follow us on Twitter, and then click all their names because we just tweeted about it today. Today.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. Go to our Twitter. Go to our YouTube. Go to our Discord. You'll find all of them in there or wherever. Go check out their stuff. They're awesome. So, also, I mean, speaking of the Spooktoberfest, let's talk about Extra Life real quick.
That's next. That's days away. That's Saturday. That's gonna be another long day. That will be the day where we close up and try and push as far as we can for 2300 on the 6th of not the 6th. Is it the 6th? 7th?
The 6th and 7th.
It is. It's the 6th into the 7th. For the Children's Miracle Network hospitals, we're donating directly to Barbara Bush Children's Hospital at Maine Medical Center. All your donations will be going to kids in that hospital to help their stay be more enjoyable, to get more equipment that they need. There are so many beds full from what I've heard from a lot of nurses and PAs who got, 50 fucking sandwiches today. There's a lot of beds full. So yeah, any amount can go to help, and it's also, nearing Christmas time, which could go to getting fucking decorations. As much as I'm a goddamn humbug, when I have a child, I will not be a humbug. there are nieces and nephews who I try to be less humbuggy with, but get decorations for them. $5 can go for lights, a fucking fake tree, something. Some update the tinsel for the love of God. But yeah, if you want to donate to them, type in !extra life into the chat. I believe it's also everywhere on our social medias. I mean, it should be in every single one of our descriptions for podcasts, but who knows? But there
Our
you
links
can go
are
to
in
donate.
there. It's in our links, and
Perfect.
and also if you are listening and you can't get to that, you can actually search Dysfunctional Gaming in extra hyphen life.org, I believe it is. Let me check real quick. I want to make sure I got that right.
Yeah, extra hyphen life.org/participant. Yep. Look for the squid.
Cool. Yeah, and yeah, if you see our logo, that's the one. Cool. Yeah, we got a lot of incentives this year. I uploaded them today onto Twitter. So if you have our Twitter, you can see our incentives there. A few of them would be if for I think $25 you could tweet from our Dysfunctional Gaming Twitter.
That's going to be dicey. Go on.
Well, obviously we'd have to okay it. So
keep in mind that I am on the committee for this Twitter post, so I'm a very loose cannon when it comes to silly posts on Twitter.
Yeah, 100.
Hondo. I want pies. I want to get pied in the face again this year. Look at this mustache. Look at this punum. It is a pieable punum. I don't know why I like that word, punum, but I do. Patches punum.
So yeah, I hope everyone can help out with that donations on Extra Life Game Day, the 6th. Moving on to what we're here to do is talk about Dungeons and Dragons.
We're here to talk about things? Okay, go on. Yes.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to talk about our Dungeons and Dragons game that is on Friday nights, the War for Garaxia, hosted by Vandal Zero. You should check that out if you want to see it live. We do it Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern on Twitch TV, Dysfunctional Gaming TTV.
Here.
On this channel. And if you want to check out our past episodes, they are loaded on Friday morning, the day of, from the last week. So you get to check out our first 3 episodes right now, right? We have 3 up there. We just did 4. 4 will be up on 4 will be up on Friday. So cool.
And if anybody wants to watch them and then make a supercut of funnies and then tag us, that's when we've made it. I don't even care about character art. You don't even have to draw Ironhide. Just make a 5-minute video of all the funny shit that you found in the 3-hour-long video. Because that's a true testament.
100%.
I watch a lot of Critical Role highlight videos as opposed to Critical Role.
I do like the highlights. The highlights are funny.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so this week is a player's week. Last week was homebrew. And so this week's kind of, it's for the players, but it's going to encapsulate a lot of Dungeon Master stuff as well. How to become the DM as a player.
It's kind of daunting at first. I will say, I mean, if you've ever had, like, as a player who became a DM, kind of talked about and then written into, and it made it a lot easier going forward. I would recommend, if you want a DM, talk to the group you're currently playing with. I mean, that's the easiest way to start. And see, hey, could we do like a one shot? Do you want to try something different this week? Do you want to play the Ghostbusters RPG? Any tabletop players will 9 times out of 10 will say yes. DMs who are behind that screen and have an opportunity to get away from it will go, yes, please. I would like to do that. I would recommend at least reading Phandelver, reading an adventure to see how things are done. Knowing a little bit, listening to a podcast like this one, who's probably we've had a DMing episode, right? Just strictly starting off DMing.
I think so.
It's been 42 episodes. We've probably talked about it. But yeah, I would recommend having at least knowledge of how to build an encounter around levels would be the first thing that you should want to do. Even if it's a one shot, that can build the boss fight at the very end of it. You could fight the minion fight and then have your social encounter towards the end of it. Knowing how encounters work is a big thing. And storytelling, a little bit of storytelling, knowing how to tell a story is certainly, you don't need it. It hopefully will come. But it certainly helps. It helps a lot knowing how to keep people invested and tell a good story.
Yeah. So they're gonna make mistakes.
Yeah.
You need to just talk to your party, talk to your friends. Hopefully they're your friends, they're not just randoms, because DMing is tough as it is, and you want to make sure that you know that you're gonna be new at this, and if they notice something that's not right, not to jump down your throat, or be more like constructive with their feedback, if you will. Be more constructive with your feedback, Steve. So that's I found that out the hard way, trying to tell the story without looking at mechanics as well, because some people don't see the game from a story perspective, they see it from a mechanics perspective as well. So that stuff can happen.
You're not wrong. It depends on what mechanics you're trying to change. Like last night we had an interesting little encounter. Yes, I would. Give me a moment. And I'll tell you, love. We plane shifted from Whitestone and Percy's house, and we got put in different bodies. So like I was a Ginger Goliath instead of normal Tomo Pandursarin. I couldn't cast magic. I couldn't do my like class abilities or my player ability or my race abilities. So like someone tried to turn undead and he had him roll percentile dice. And I was like, well, that's divine intervention. But being the player, I just, at that point, I was like, all right, let's see what I can push. Let's see what I can try to get away with and see how things work. It's a way of trying to help newer DMs to see, and help players see if, there's different ways around puzzles and not just hacking things. Ended up finding out that I had to take exactly how much HP I had, drop to 0, and then we were all polymorphed as different people. Okay. And I had no magic. Yeah. So it dropped my form. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then I dispelled magic. I made everybody back. We're still stuck there because it's some weird like glass labyrinth tube thing. And there's a lycanthrope now. And that's where we ended. But how
is that helpful to be a player becoming a DM?
Learn little tricks. Learn little tricks like that. Like learn from your DM. Like, pick up on their little nuances, their little subtleties, because then you can use that and then twist it and make it your own. Like, I've done things that Thundercat have done and then kind of turned them on their head to make them mine. And I assume Thundercat's done the same thing. It's one of those things that it's imitation is the most sincere form of flattery.
So. I agree with that, definitely. Now, my next thing that I used to do when I first started was, how many times behind the scenes did I message you, just you alone, saying like, hey, what do you think if I did something like this? Is that feasible in the game? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I've I've
Couple
gone
of
behind
times.
the back to make sure to like see if my other DMs would understand what I'm saying. And it's so hard because I don't want to give away spoilers about the game that's going on that I'm doing with you as a player. But like but you want to see if that stuff is feasible with the party is basically where I'm going with it.
That's a big thing. It because you sent me a couple of messages. I remember a couple of messages. Yeah, DMs will embrace it. I'll go. I mean, feasibly, it's your universe. You just bind it with rules. If you need to alter something, it's one of those things. It's a give and take relationship. Da, 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 da. Trying to text dinner behind me. Cheeseburger with ketchup, pickles.
Yeah, so basically if I had a question about mechanics or something that I couldn't really put together myself, I would ask Patch if he had an idea for what I could do to make it work in game, or I would use Google as my best friend and write in a question like, what are some gods of chaos that would do something like this, and try to bring in that god to make something happen. But like, instead of giving away spoilers, I was using Google a lot to help.
Google's a big thing.
DMing.
It's trying to figure out who the fucking like trolls, who isn't a troll in a D&D in the DM's guild. Like, cause I'll sit there and I'll read some things and I'm like, I don't know if this person's trying to troll, because this is like an easy thing where like just fucking make it your own. If you're looking for me to make it for you, I can do that, but I'm not DMing for your players. That's the hard part for me. Cause like that's the thing. Like, if you're a player trying to be becoming a DM, you need to know the people who are playing the game, so you can try and kind of think like them. Or
I will always stay in contact with my players behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of my players has gotten a message that no one else has gotten during the week saying, hey, is this something that your character would enjoy or something that your character would hate? And because I'm planning on doing something like this for your for your character arc, I'm going to have this in there somewhere. But like, that's only because I want to make sure that my players know, like, I've got stuff in the works for them, whether they know what the stuff is or not. I want to make sure that your characters are good to go.
It also helps gauge like the solvability of your puzzles.
Right.
Like, or if you even do puzzles or combat. Like, if you have a group of people who like to do social encounters, who like to talk, fucking let them. Like, yep. I've really debated upon just DMing a social encounter setting and not having a single combat, and seeing how far I can go without even letting people roll dice, or even seeing if people want to roll dice. Because if you talk a lot to me, I won't even have you roll a perception or a deception check, because I'll just be like, wow, I believe that, and I fucking know better.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll take it.
Yeah. Hey, Uncle Sander, hello.
Hello. One of those things, like, it's have the time. Know that you'll have the time to put into the story. Like, you'll be able to put in time so people can buy in. And if you want to do it again, you'll do it again. That's some of the biggest things, I can recommend people who want to DM. If you're a player who wants to become a DM, make sure that you have enough time to allocate to becoming a DM, because you're the person who's going to say, hey, this is the time we are playing this week. Is everybody there? This is Tuesdays at this time. I will see you then. Let me know otherwise. And if you don't hear from people, and people, are late, be like, hey, just a friendly reminder, stuff like that. Like, I'm a DM who'll be like, hey, we're going to play Sundays, 5:30 p.m. Let me know if it changes. Because otherwise, I'll be here. I'm ready at 5:30. I'm ready to go. Otherwise, I mean, DM talk. I DM 2 campaigns. Woof. Woof.
Ogre. See, so a true social encounter campaign would be you wouldn't need to roll those, because instead of saying I try and seduce the guard, the DM would say, what do you say to seduce said guard? And if it comes off unlike what the DM's expecting, then it could still be a natural one. Like you could roll a 20 basically without having to roll. That's the part thing, of the social, a true social encounter campaign. Exactly. But I agree. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, because when I first started DMing, I'm a talker. I like social encounters. That's my thing. I'm not a big combat guy. I can work combat into things, but it slogs. I don't have fun with it. I can have fun if other people are having fun, but it's not my cup of tea. But not everybody's a role player. And I get that. Some people it's harder for others to jump into other people's skins, so they are better at combat. But if you're a player who wants to be a DM, you gotta have a knowledge and a little bit of a like for both of them. Currently, I'm a player in one that's been going for probably 10 years or longer. That's a fucking campaign right there. Joined 2 years ago. Damn.
Well, I mean, we've been playing together for 6 years, but not a 6-year long campaign. But if you want to think about all of the games that we play, they all do connect somehow.
That's because we're the type of DMs who like to reuse things, recycle. I like to try and save the environment, especially with my old NPCs. You also think
that like you've created, if you think about it, after you finish a campaign, that character or NPC that was with those characters are now almost god tier type characters. They could possibly change the fate of change the fate of the world that you're playing in. So those could become like huge historical aspects in said world. So at any point, you could just drop in like a historical, like this is 600 years later, and bam, right. You hear about Talianix and her awesome show she had or whatever.
I will agree, Ogre. Combat is kind of hard. You have to understand the player groups and adjust it accordingly. People see Critical Role and assume every battle has to feel kind of tough. I agree. I like to have the battle. Like you could have 3 goblins, and I could still make that battle tough. I could still make it tough. And then Sander is in endgame for the campaign. My goodness. And they have Tiamat as the final boss. Thundercat. Welcome. That was your first ever camp. That was you became
my finale.
That was your finale. That was your first endgame boss. Best of luck, Sander. Best of luck.
Yeah, good luck. I sexted Tiamat. Yeah, that's the face I would make too.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's the thing. Figure out what you want to DM. If you want to DM a one shot, know that it's going to be one session. Do you want to DM a campaign, or do you want to do a session and see how it is? I would recommend most players, if you want to DM, it depends player to player how bad you want to do it. If you're really itching because you really want to try DMing, you like throwing in your roleplay, you're engaged in combat, try a campaign. Try a little campaign. Try Phandelver. It's short.
Okay, so that's my next question. Like, do you think what if your DM? I mean, we've had this issue in multiple games where people just can't show up, miss multiple weeks in a row. Campaigns end because of it. What is your, not recommendation, but what is your like, what would you say to someone who is a player and their DM keeps being the one that's not showing up and they want to start DMing? Like, what's the word there? What would you say to them? Like,
I mean,
they don't have that other DM to bounce off of, basically.
Take the initiative. I mean, go on to Twitter, go on to Reddit, go on to Facebook, go on to all kinds of outlets where there are DMs who will want to talk. If you go to DMs Guild, I guarantee you can find something for free, and there's a table for that. There are so many things, but if you are a player and your DM is not attentive or there, first I would ask the DM, hey man, are you okay? Are you burnt out? Next, I would simply, I'm the type of person who'd be like, hey, I would like to try DMing. We haven't played in 3 weeks. Would anybody be interested in playing? I don't know how we could do this, but sure, let's give it a shot and see what happens. If no one wants to, I'll silently go shame eat a fucking pint of Ben and Jerry's in the corner, but life moves on. I'll find another game. No, Ogre, I would not want to imagine that. I've already thought about that. To hell with that. I see that there's a wall of text that I need to read.
So basically, Ogre said that he was in a campaign and he was kind of friends with the people, and he was the only guy who had a girlfriend. He was considered a pretty boy, and they made his character like ugly, one charisma, and they just punished him the whole campaign, and now he's not friends with any of them. So it was probably best to move on, honestly, Ogre. That's no way to treat someone trying to play D&D. Like, that's just fucking petty.
Yep. They gave me a 1 charisma. Like, so that's just, I would look at the player sheet and be like, are you serious? And then if they say yes, I'd be like, well, I apologize. I thought we were going to play in D&D. And I would leave. I wouldn't even have played in the first place, which sucks. Rotating DM. Yeah, so that's insanely great.
I listened to a podcast. What were they called? Tabletop Champions, and they still make a podcast, actual play D&D game, and they're pretty good. But in between like their season 2 and season 3, they did a rotating DM like podcast, and it was like every episode it was a new DM, and the person that became the DM, their character got like sucked into like some rift or something, and the other one got spit out. So like every time the new person came out, they would say like, you're all like slathered up in butter or something. Like they would just make up like something that was on the person that came out of the rift, and it was pretty hilarious. But the fucking game went everywhere. There was no like there was no cohesiveness in the game. It was just a mess.
Honestly, for a DM first campaign, use pre-made ones. You're not wrong.
That's a great idea.
It is a good idea. I tend to disagree with that idea, simply because I like to make characters. If I have a voice in my head, it's real hard to kind of already put it to something. Like normally I'll just have a voice and then I can figure it out at that point.
Well, just change it. That's what he said after.
I know. It makes it slightly easier.
Make your own adjustments. Put in those characters where the character they tell you to put in is.
But like, like people will want to be like, I want to be a goblin, and be like, all right, well, no, sorry.
That's fine too.
I apologize. That is ultimately what I kind of wanted to say. It's okay to say no sometimes.
I don't like the monstrous races that they brought out, and because everyone's now like trying to be those races. Like, I want to be a bugbear, I want to be a goblin. It's like, well, goblins are still evil in my campaign, so
why?
When everyone sees you, you're gonna be seen as an evil being, just so you know. You know what I mean?
I would always ask the why. Like, why do you want to be a goblin? If you say, I don't know, well, I'd go, well, give me a reason, and then I'll let you be it. That's where it lies.
Ogre didn't know anything about D&D at the time, so it was on. Yeah, that sucks. They didn't give you a chance to learn the game. That's people being
dicks.
Yeah,
being dicks. You're being a dick. Yeah, you're being a dick. That's a shitty way to make someone learn the game. That's essentially like giving someone 5 $1 bills in the game of Monopoly. It's kind of, and Sam Riegel played as a goblin. So that was, I was going to point to, if you want to try a monstrous race, give me a story to why you're the monstrous race, because Sam Riegel in Not was fucking perfect. I never watched the season.
He also hid the fact that he was a goblin as a character the whole time he was in front of people. So
Tiefling as Sanders, I apologize for. I'm just trying to. It's. I wouldn't consider a tiefling race like monstrous. Where do you draw your lines at monstrous races? So let's.
Well, the Volos guide has monstrous races. Like literally, it says monstrous races.
Okay, so an Aasimar, half bird person, not monstrous.
Not a monstrous, because monstrous races are typically evil.
Okay, so like Yuan-ti.
Monstrous race, typically evil.
Okay. I want to be a dragon. Dragonborn. Boom, you're done.
There's my Volos guide. Where are you?
That's something you also don't need to really think about too much. New players who want to be a DM.
Over there.
Get a PDF of a basic DM's guide. Don't go out and buy all kinds of books. You don't. If you want to,
if you want to, go for it, because you're never gonna. Broke. You won't not use them. Just be ready that you might not actually like DMing. Maybe I would just grab the DM's guide and that's it. And then figure out from there if you want to do anything else. But you can get a lot of the stuff online at like cheap prices too. So,
like, have a little story in your head that you want to do. Like Ogre, as Ogre said, fun to have a campaign based in another realm like Game of Thrones, and then replay certain aspects with created characters. That's, do the Battle of Helm's Deep from right there. That's drawing inspiration. I've kind of wrote a little campaign where like you guys go into storybooks, like you're in a library and then you just go into stories. That's one of my things. And like,
we love Dragonborn. I love Dragonborn.
Yes. Never been one.
I've never been one either, but I always play small characters because I'm 6'3" in real life, so I get to use all the excuses. Oh, I can't reach that, and can you help me? I can't. It's like I don't bump my head on stuff. That's why I haven't played the Dragonborn.
I like to make jokes with my characters. Like a Drow Bard is a rock star. A peace cleric Minotaur, a fucking wizard turtle. As much as I wanted to just goof around with Barondir turned out to be like one of the best jokes because he went from joke to being my favorite character. When you form a story, if you use roles to determine outcomes of interactions, I don't. As a DM, how many branches of a story do you have to make in case X or Y happens? Typically, I'll be real, Ogre.
I don't have any of that. Yeah.
I never determine outcomes and interactions. If they're dickheads to me, I'm a dickhead back. If they're nice to me, I'm nice.
Or you could do the really subtle, like, oh yes, everything. Yeah, you're right. Everything. You're gonna be a dick to me. Yeah, you're correct. Oh yeah. Oh, it's gonna be an extra 300 gold on top of everything that you just wanted. Like, you want to be a dick? Here's my outcome. Like, everything's more expensive immediately. But when it comes to
stories, like, I'm a big fan of making the party work for the bad people and seeing if people ask questions. If the party asks questions about what they're doing, yeah, absolutely. I will. I will sit there and I will just kind of let and see what happens. And if they give it back, okay. And then they set the next piece in motion. If they ask questions and try to stop it, then I alter it to these people are now trying to get the party. And they want what they fucking paid for. You were paid 500 gold to get me these stupid fucking candles. That's going to end the world. Give me my fucking candles. It all depends on your story.
I like to do the write each week. I have an overarching, like, getting from A to Z, but I need to put B, C, D, E, F, G, like, all in there somewhere. And I'll put B and C, and if they don't go to either of those, the next week I'll write D and E. I don't have everything written all the way up to Z already. Like,
if your party ignores your story, make them deal with the consequences. A little. I mean, you don't get that part of the story.
So, yeah,
That's the consequence.
I wrote a whole. I had a whole thing ready to go in my latest campaign where they were supposed to follow these goblins and hobgoblins who had changed what they look like to fit in with the races, the non-monstrous races, and they didn't follow it. They got all of the information they needed to go and continue, and then they said, no, fuck that, we're not doing that anymore, and then decided to go to find the vampires. Like, I had bounties I gave them to give them extra things to do, and they decided to go against saving their boss, basically.
Boss is a strong word.
At the time, he was the boss. He was the one that ran the school.
Yeah,
that you all worked at.
Here's the question.
That you all
Hopefully,
worked at.
Yeah. Well, either there's going to be no school to work at because boss is gone, or boss is going to get mad. I'm ready to deal with those consequences.
Yeah, but they left that hanging branch over here, so I have to go bring that, cut that branch down and tie it on to the next tree that they're on.
I'm trying to think of things that you guys didn't do in my Sunday campaign. Honestly, there was a part where I didn't think you guys were going to split the party and go up and down in that little tower fight that I had for you, and you were going to send the NPCs like ones like up or like downstairs, and you guys were all going to go upstairs or vice versa, and it was going to be real bad. But you did what I didn't expect, and I went, okay, I have to run these two fights that I already had written out. I knew that downstairs was just powerful enough to wipe out your NPCs, and then upstairs, I was going to murk them. But no, you split the party. It worked out in your favor. What didn't you guys do? Oh, a big thing. Grog. Yeah, that was one of those things, like, Grog was just kind of big and dumb and loyal and just kind of kept to himself on certain things, and you never insight checked him, and I made him a bad guy. It was one of those things I was like, yes, they've incited every fucking person I throw at him, except for the dummy. Okay.
I mean, there's things that I put in that I don't expect them to even look at, and then they do, and I'm like, okay, sweet, they did this. Yes, let's do this. The fucking doppelganger in the very beginning was like one of my favorite things that you guys did, and Dalamar just like walked away with her like no big deal.
Yep, that was terrifying. I'm trying to think, like times when I go to like people, like if you're in a town and I go, what do you want to do? And people say, oh, well, not really anything. I'll go, okay. At that point, it's time to make something happen. Don't be afraid to make something happen. Sometimes just roll a dice, see how nervous the players get. It's something. There's a piece on a DM screen that says something happens. Roll the d20, and this happens to someone. It'll start stirring up your brain to talk about things. It'll stir up the players to see, oh, why did that just happen?
Roll a dice just to roll a dice.
That's a dirty DM trick.
But there you go. Everyone thinks something happened, and now they're back into the game.
Let's see. Any advice that I could give new players to want to be a DM? Have fun. Have fun with it. It's a game. Ultimately, it's a game where you're all invested, hopefully, and you should be having fun. That's what you should be doing.
Yes.
One thing I always praise in my DMs, let me try to convince the villain to stand down before I do something crazy. As a DM who likes to monologue, yeah.
Doesn't mean that
Depends on my villain.
It doesn't mean that they're gonna stand down.
I'll play it even further and be like, oh, yes, I would love to. Please come here.
Let me give you a hug.
Yep.
This is how my people say hello.
I mean, always let them try. Unless it's impossible, let them always say you can certainly try. That's get used to saying that phrase unless it's something that dice can't help you.
I still say it.
Like, so Ironhide, I'm not much of a fighter, but if I need to do some damage, I'll go ahead and touch somebody, inflict some wounds on them, because that's kind of what I do. I'm not a big violence person as my character, but when I need to put something down, I won't resist. Just bam, second level inflict wounds, because now I have those type of spells.
Yeah, no, we get it. I'll always let people talk. If the bad guy is gonna monologue, I'll let you guys monologue. Like, whatever, we'll fucking go for it. Let's have a story. Here we go. You tell me why you're here and why you're gonna stop me, and then I'm gonna tell you why you're not gonna stop me and why I'm more powerful than you.
Remember when people interrupt your monologue as a villain?
Yep. Okay, Ogre Whelming has a
what
question.
You got?
I think becoming a DM is a great thing for a party. So everybody should have.
Fuck out of here with that, Ogre.
Everybody should have.
The one that's a turkey.
Everybody should have another person in that party that can DM if the DM can't make it. And if you want to be that person, talk to your team, talk to the other players, and say, hey, when our DM can't make it, I'll run a side campaign with the characters, but we won't level up. We'll just play with the characters or whatever. Something that happens on the side.
Yeah. Sorry, I was reading chat. I agree with Uncle Sanders. So Ogre Whelming has a question. I'm going to a concert and I have 2 Christmas sweaters. One is Breakdancing Jesus. It says "Go Jesus, it's your birthday," and it has lights that can turn it on and off that flash. However, Uncle Sander interjected, "Roll a dice." I like that. So if it is higher than 10, you go with Breakdancing Jesus, and the other is Santa laying nude on his side with a present in front of his junk with motion-controlled lights. Okay, higher than 10 is Breakdancing Jesus. Lower than 10 is Dick in a Box Santa. I like that. I've never thought about because I've always I don't want to say ghosting a player, but like players can ghost each other if one's like not going to be out. Like a ghost DM would be kind of handy. Like you could be in a dream state that so you don't have to make new characters, you don't have to worry about campaigns or anything. Yeah, that's clever. But seriously, if you have the urge to DM and you're playing a game of you're playing D&D with people, ask those people. You should certainly ask those people. You already know them and see if they want to play.
You might get lucky. They might want to DM.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could say, "Sweet, I'll learn with you."
That's always ask who you already play with, because if you're itching to DM, you definitely have to have played D&D before. Have to. It really is super crucial to at least play D&D instead of trying to run the wheel of a car, not knowing how to operate it.
I learned a lot of the game from listening to podcasts of people playing the game. Listening to Critical Role, Matt Mercer gets 97% of the rules correct without having to look into his book. But being a DM now, I know that some of the rules that he uses, or not uses, but thinks he knows, aren't right. Because I've been like, I know that rule because I've messed it up. And I know that 3% now.
Yeah, Beth here lets me hear it every time. What's funny is I hear it less often when she watches newer episodes as opposed to older episodes. Yep. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that.
Yep. One thing I say, try as a new DM, is to use the party's character flaws in the story. Yeah, that's a good way to make your story.
Yeah,
I use backstory. If you give me a 2-page backstory, I'm using every little bit of it. If you give me no backstory, I'm creating one for you, and good luck.
How about the backstory I gave you as 2?
Yeah, I've started creating it.
Yep. So for the newer people out there, so 2 is a Warforged who does not know where he comes from. He was an anchor for a boat and was pulled up, and I came to sentience, and I am 892 years old on my paper. I know that as a player, but 2 doesn't know that. He knows that he's just old. He knows that there are new models. I don't know where 404 is. I cannot find it. That was the one joke that I that was the one thing I'm like, I want to be a robot and I want to not know where I am and I want to call it 404. So it's error not found. Yay! No. Lower than 10 was Dick in a Box Santa.
No, you're right.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't. Yes.
Yes, Jesus,
You
it
were-
is. You
you
did
were-
it. You did it.
Woo! Jesus! Hooray, Jesus! Thank you, Uncle Sander. I say that when I eat dinner sometimes.
Yeah, so I've created all of his background because he didn't give me one. But
Yep.
in our first campaign, he told me that there was a dragon that
Gave you
destroyed
five-
his monastery, and he did this and that to go after, and so I had put that all together and made him go fight a dragon.
Have a bunch of dice. Have your own set of dice, please. If you want to DM, please have your own dice. I should not have to loan a DM dice. I've never had to do it. I
don't know why you're even talking about it, but all right.
It's the only like I just thought of it. I was like, you should have dice. You should certainly have dice. As a
Your
new,
DM will
as a new
punish you if you.
DM.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not punishing him. I just haven't figured out how I want to go about his backstory yet. I have an idea in my head.
Well,
I
here's
could-
the thing:
I
if
could
you're a
punish him,
level
though.
fucking, if you're a level 1 character and you give me a 10-page diatribe, I'm gonna look at you and be like, "How fucking old are you?" And if you say 18, I'm like, "I don't give a shit. I want to know why are you an adventurer? Give me that in a paragraph because you're level 1. How did you get to level 5? Oh, give me some pages."
See, I always have. So this has been kind of my issue with how the D&D characters are created. So you have this backstory. Say you're a soldier. Wouldn't you expect to have like a better handling on like your skills, basically, if you were a soldier and you survived being a soldier? Like, so if you're gonna make a level 1 character that has like okay strength, okay dex, like their stats are basic level 1 stats, I would expect a soldier to be better than that already. Like, and I guess I know they give you the skills and the feats and stuff, but I don't know. I feel like making level 1 with a background.
Sometimes instead
is
of
weird
giving
to
me a
me.
background, write where you're from and give me a family tree. How many people are in your family? That's all
So
I need to
I
know.
can kill 80% of them.
Well, I mean, sometimes you got to clear cut a forest to, make a room for the new mall.
Your family members will probably end up attacking you or something worse. True. Exactly.
You might, you're not wrong. Like that's a DM trick. Using a player's backstory against them is always one of the things that a DM will do, and kidnapping, and it's part of D&D. I assume. I've never not had to deal with kidnapping.
They're out of banana.
Dicks.
Yeah, fuck that.
5 Guys, nice.
Yes, sir.
I think just fucking do it. Just Shia LaBeouf, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Grow up. You have to have a pretty like strong backbone because you're gonna put up with a lot of shit and you're gonna have to say no to some stuff. But give it a try.
Give it a try.
And tell your party why you're doing it and what your game's about, and this is why these rules are in effect or whatever. Session 0 is very important.
Thank you. Yes, it is.
So that's I don't know. That's my basic breakdown on what I think as a player you should do as a DM. Yeah, at the day your word is law. Exactly. But don't abuse it. Don't abuse your power. Let them play. A lot of improv is yes and. Remember that. And if you need any help with that improv, we have old episodes that have an improv episode and being a good player stuff and other DM stuff that you can learn. Random tables.
There are 41 other ones on the podcast.
I'm running out of things that we can talk about. I have to start I'm creating things out of thin air now.
We've gone through the basics.
Is there anything else that you think we should tell a player trying to be a DM? Get a DM screen. Yes, that's a good idea. You don't need one. You could just put a friggin' book in front of you. If you buy the DM's guide, you can just open the DM's guide up in front of you. Buy the starter set. Doesn't it come with one?
At least a little one. I mean, if you want a DM, ask. Honestly, another DM will always embrace a no. Some DMs can roll in front of people.
I'll roll in front of people the whole time if I have to.
But yeah, ask. Don't be afraid to ask. Hey, I would love to try to be a DM. Would you guys be interested in playing? The DM will 9 times out of 10 say yes, I would love to play. Players might not, but the DM probably knows more players who would want to. And figure out if you want to do a one-shot or a campaign. That's the biggest thing I would recommend. If you want to DM, figure out if you want to do at least try a session before you commit to several sessions and that time commitment that D&D is.
Yes.
That's what I have to say.
Yes. I think you just do it. Just do it. And if you need a dungeon, there are many sites to help you build one. I'll give you a time
Just need
frame.
5 rooms.
Yeah, 5-room dungeon to start out the game. Good luck. Go for it. Just do it. Just do it.
Make your dreams not dreams.
Make your dreams D&D.
Ah, yes. D&D wishes and natural 20 dreams.
All right.
Do we have anything more to talk about?
I don't think so. I think we did pretty good. We did a lot of...
Without divulging into next week's topic, I think that's what we can cover.
Yeah, I gave away one. I gave away one, but it was pivotal for this one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I gave a couple out.
Yeah, you did.
I have more.
All right. An elemental monk. I'm a halfling wizard.
Monks for life, but I'm a peace cleric minotaur on the Friday game. And why'd you want to be a monk? That's my question.
All right.
Is it okay?
No, well, yeah, we'll let him answer, but I'm going to continue. This week is a very important week for us. Friday night is the War for Garaxia, episode 5. 9 p.m. Eastern. We are almost into Wunderhof. We have to go through this building to get there.
Yes. Sorry, it was potato. We subverted encounters, and now we have to figure out about the beast.
Yeah, the beast. That's right. Elmont Monk has a lot of skills he can use. True.
But I meant, why did you want to be a monk in general? Do you watch like kung fu movies and like to draw inspirations when like, how do you want to do it?
Friday, Saturday. Woo, Saturday.
Big day, baby.
Starting at
Starts
noon.
when?
Starting at noon on Saturday, 24 hours starting at noon, we are doing an Extra Life game-a-thon, game day. All proceeds will go to Extra Life on that day. We are hoping to get to our goal by Sunday. And if we do, this beautiful mess of a beard will be off of my face. 2300. We're almost there. If you look up above Patch's head over there, that way.
Oop.
We're just under half the way. If we can raise another 1,500, not 1,500, 1,150.
$1,200. Let's call it 1,200.
So yeah, we'll hit that goal. It'll be the first time we actually hit our goal. If we do that, we have a bunch of incentives for Saturday. I will be posting that in our Discord. If you need to find our Discord, !Discord in the chat. All of the incentives for game day will be in there. All of our incentives will be on Twitter. We'll have our schedule tomorrow. I'll be putting that up.
What time? Okay, so I assume noon is when we're going to be starting tabletop games, or do you want to start later?
Tabletop games at noon.
Okay.
You coming over for that, right?
Yeah, I bet that. Yeah, I haven't fucking played. I haven't seen your fucking mug in person in like a month.
Since
Right? Something like that.
Since the splooshes.
Since the splooshes, yeah. Yeah. That was summertime.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It was. So cool, yeah. I'm really excited for game day. I really hope we can get this done. With the support we had on Sunday, I'm really hoping that we can get some good support on Saturday. What kind of tabletop games do we play?
What don't we play is the question. I really, really, really want to get murdered in Epic Spell Wars just because it happens every fucking time. And yeah. We used to have a tabletop night. We played Epic Spell Wars. We played Betrayal last year. We played Flux. A lot of card and like cooperative games.
The game that I want to play Arkham so bad, but I know we can't do that for a game day. It would take 4 hours, 5 hours.
Whole fucking tabletop session.
Yeah, but I want to play that so bad. I haven't played it in so long. So we'll be playing tabletop games from noon till like 6 or 7. Then we'll be getting over to our video games section where we play from 7 at night, 8 o'clock at night until tomorrow, until the next day. With a bunch of different games. I'll put the games in the schedule. We'll probably have a few co-op games, single player, a bunch of random stuff. We'll see what happens.
Someone was trying to explain it to Ossitator in his chat the other day, and I caught the tail end of it. So I kind of want to try it out. I have Tabletop Simulator, so I want to take a peek at it. But yeah, I'm excited for that.
All right, let's do some shameless self-promotion. Are you coming back at all?
Hello. Patch Nasty here. Tomorrow we are finishing Man of Medan. Thursday we're streaming something. Friday I kind of want to see if I can get away with doing like a pre-show for D&D just to figure that out. Saturday is tabletop day, so I assume at some point I'm going to school your ass in one sports game or another. So I will be live doing that, so you can get 2 views. You can get his disgruntled mug and mine smug mug. Sunday is going to be an interesting day because that's going to be one of the last scheduled type of streams, because Wednesday the 10th I start a second job where I will be working Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday nights from 5 to midnight because I'm a crazy person, but I want to get my ass out of debt and potentially get like a big boy job selling hamburgers, which still astounds me that it still astounds me that I can get a 401b from selling hamburgers. But yeah, once I try and find a happy medium on that, I think until that happy medium is found, it might just be Thursdays for streams or Saturday mornings or something, like, cause I'm going to be fucking beat all the time. And yeah. But the good thing is you'll always be able to catch me here Tuesdays and Fridays for D&D. That's my shameless self-promote. So if you can't catch me on my channel, you should certainly subscribe to Dysfunctional Gaming TTV and potentially get us more emotes so I can make this face and go, and you can do that in the chat. But yeah, Thundercat, what are you playing tomorrow? You normally stream on Sundays at some time.
Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Oh, damn it. Worth a shot.
I will be streaming tomorrow. 90% sure I'll be streaming tomorrow. I'm going to be streaming Metal Gear Solid 2.
Starting it up?
Yeah, it's going to be the startup of the first playthrough since like it came out back in the day.
Oh, Jesus. Do you remember anything about the story?
Yes and no. No. I remember like,
do you remember
I'm gonna remember like I'll be running through, I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that, and then be like, oh yeah, I remember that, but it's not like anything in my head right now.
All right, then I'll be quiet then.
It's got a lot of I haven't
played that in months.
New stuff because I got it on PC, so it's got like all like the DLC and shit that they had for it that they put in, like new missions and stuff, different cutscenes. So I'm excited to see all the different stuff that they put in as well. And then Sunday, I'll be back Sunday as well.
Will you?
No, I won't. This weekend will be a mess.
I was gonna say
this weekend will be a mess. So Wednesday, you'll catch me this Wednesday, and then we'll be back on Tuesday for this.
You will see his fucking mug all goddamn day on Saturday. You should just be
Saturday
around
into
on
Sunday.
Saturday.
Yes.
It's Thunder Saturday. That's what's happening. Thundercat Saturdays.
And then next Monday we're back with Survival Nights because we missed this last one. We were putting together the Extra Life incentives and I worked late and it was just kind of, we got to figure out the schedule now that DD's got a new job.
Destiny 2 sent help, put in thousands of hours. I mean, Vandal and I were up there on D1. I dabble every now and then. Lately, it's been a lot of baseball because World Series. It potentially could be over tonight.
I think that's all we have for outro plugs. Oh, one more thing. Patreon.
Say, don't you fucking forget about it. I was going to yell it.
Go ahead.
I did yell it.
Tell me.
With Dysfunctional Gaming, we have a Patreon. If you want to see the nonsensical stuff that we talk about before the show, or you want to read the outlines for the show, or you want to see some Randy rants, or if you want to see Session 0 from the War from Garaxia, you should certainly go find us on Patreon and give us is it $5? How much is it?
I think it's like $2.50, $3
give us
maybe.
$2.50. We need about $3.50. If you give us $3.50, the goddamn Loch Ness monster will be gone, and you can watch the Session 0 and read the outlines. We need about $3.50. I gave him $1. Goddamn you, woman!
Our Patreon, I put on. I've uploaded Dysfunctional Dad's character creation for Sal, and also GM Patch Nasty's character creation for Ironhide, and Beth's character creation for Clementine, all up on the Patreon last weekend. So that's all there.
You're looking at me like, okay, yes, it's there.
Yep.
You better believe it.
I think that's it. What are we talking about next week?
Next week, so if you're a player who wants to be a DM, let us, show us, our bluffs. Let us show us, our fucking tricks up our sleeves, our dirty little secrets. Not the All American Reject song, because that shit's garbage. But we'll show you all our dirty little secrets. We'll show you the lacy underwear that we sometimes wear, all the crazy shit that DMs pull out to befuddle their players or, get people more invested. That's a good.
We're
That's
gonna
a
talk
great.
about our tips and tricks for DMs. We're gonna give away our
Ooh, secret.
We're gonna give away our secrets.
Secret.
Speaking of whispers and ASMR, that is going to be one of the incentives on Saturday and Sunday. You can donate to make us do ASMR.
And then keep in mind that any donations you get on the lovely Patches Goonie jacket. So far, we have Bomb on Top, we've got Blue Jane, we've got Throg's Horde, we've got Wiggle Nation, we got the Potato Patch. I still got to put Lifted on here, too. But yeah, any person who donates from now and on Extra Life Day while we are streaming, or when I, every now and then open up Streamlabs and go, oh, that person gave us money. I will write your name on the vest, and that will be worn game day. Tuesdays are free for me. Perfect. Yeah, that's one of the big things. So anytime someone gives money. So who we raiding over to there, Thundercat?
Call me Dara's online.
Dara's online? Oh, late night stream.
Let's do it. Let me get over to Randy's screen. I need to get over to Randy's screen.
That's right. How are you today, Thundercat? I learned
I'm
a little
good.
bit.
Are you gonna become a DM, Randy?
Well, I'm already a DJ, so yeah, just add another letter onto it. I could be a DJM. I could play music while I'm making sure that the story goes according to plan.
All right. Well, we're going to head over to Call Me Dara. I want to thank everybody who's been here today. Once again, thanks to everyone that did Spooktoberfest. Thanks to Dee Dee for putting it together. Thanks to Patch, Disto, and the rest of the Dysfunctional Gaming crew for modding. Over to you, Randy. Love you, buddy.
Well, it's kind of funny you mentioned that, because there's the feelings that I have in my heart. I can't express them because it's more than words. So, saying I love you is not the words I want to hear from you. It's not that I want you not to say, but if you only knew how easy it would be to show me how you feel. More than words is all you have to do to make it real. Then you wouldn't have to say that you love me. 'Cause I'd already know. La-di-dee, da-di-dee, da-da. Die-die-do-do-do. What would you do if my heart was torn in two? More than words to show you feel that your love for me is real.